What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to talk about college dating. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be like, this is sometimes a rocket science. I don't know why this person likes me today and hates me tomorrow and then comes back the next day, and I will never understand women, or people will say stuff like that, or we'll go to dating sites, whatever. So we're going to settle some of the scores right now. Now, first of all, you got to understand attraction breaks all the rules. Like, somebody can say, oh my God, that guy is so creepy. And then 2 days later, oh my God, they're in the deepest relationship. And what the hell happened? Well, there was something about this person that totally outweighed it. And they may have actually been attracted to this person. But, this is where attraction will break the rules, because people develop dopamine in their brain, and it triggers the release of dopamine, which kind of brings two people together, and the oxytocin kind of builds this bond if they have security, and they have this comfort and this feeling the other person fills their life, and it goes on both sides. So, for a good relationship and attraction, this is where if one person is more attracted and infatuated with the other person, it can lead to insecurity. It can lead to this kind of over pursuit, and Ask Men on a lot of dating sites will talk about situations where somebody relies on faulty intelligence, they don't know themselves, they are pursuing a situation that is not in accordance with the art of war, art of dating, that is not something that's going to work, and they live in their own world saying, oh my God, I need to give some pickup line, I've got to give them a poem or card, whatever, or a gift or whatever, force myself on their mind. This is brute force. Nobody wins with brute force. This is the kind of approach that will get you immediately recognized, and it can quickly be, they can say one day, he's a nice guy. Okay, how does he know my birthday? How does he know I took this class? Oh my God, how does he know this? Because they suddenly feel like it's going over the line. Because somebody is living in this pursuit and relying on faulty intelligence to try and force a situation. So what can we do? Now, what we can do, know ourselves. In an environment, oh well, maybe you got rejected or ignored or whatever, or, there were people that were kind of stuck up. Now, stuck up is another thing in this world. We're going to explain now. There are different types of stuck up. There are people out there that have this notion in their head, I got to only date people in a certain category, or it's got to be this way. And that is faulty intelligence, that they are convincing themselves, and they will have a dangerous relationship because they are not dating for the right reasons. They are not meeting people and actually exploring. Now, if you're in a college setting, this is probably narcissism, where somebody thinks, you're not cool enough to talk to me. And they may get in this clique thing, and then this kind of peer group thing. They may have suite mates that are like, oh my God, I only want to hang out with these people. Why are you hanging out with him? And they kind of push this attitude on other people. So, in adolescent environments, you can have that a lot. And what you got to do, find what works for you. Find the classes that bring you out the good side. This is where in the college dating, you probably don't have a relationship because you haven't been in enough places. And maybe you do better doing stuff. You may have certain abilities they're not seeing. Or you may have some kind of trait that kind of blinds them. And on the other hand, you flip the scripts, there's another guy, none of the traits they want. Totally undesirable for that person. But they don't care. They are totally blinded, infatuated, bonded to this person, thinking that they are right. So, that's where people are developing, a lot of times women in college are very ambivalent. They may have less relationship experience in high school, and so all of a sudden they have this high expectation what the first situation should be. And so other people may want to get bonded, or they may oftentimes be in a big environment, lots of guys to choose from. And nowadays, some people are dating around and they want to meet lots of people. Other people are not. Some people will get this notion in their head, I just broke up, I don't want to get involved with anybody else. And that can be a mistake if they broke up with a crappy boyfriend or girlfriend, and then they meet somebody who's great, that might take their mind off of it and but not take their mind off of it, they lead them in a positive direction. And some people will blind themselves saying, no, that's not for me right now. And then they miss out. So that is one thing about this. And basically, in the puzzle, different personalities work well and different ones don't. And you see zodiac signs. They talk about certain people that have certain traits, and maybe this one guy over here, 95% of the people are not for him. Oh my God, there's 5 over here out of this 100. Bam, he's having a great time. and he just needs to find them, just be involved in stuff. On the other hand, this guy, very outgoing, has lots of relationships all the time, lots of dates, lots of appeal. Nah, it's short-lived. He has this appeal, and he kind of uses it, and he knows the right stuff to say, but eventually people get sick of him and they hate him, and they think he's just a user. And you'll have somebody else, they may be more in the middle, and they don't always have every relationship all the time. But then they find more covalent or deep attraction relationships where they are more bonded to somebody, and there's some other people that have this tendency, they're just physical relationships. And so you see all this. But, in a college setting, people are constantly in pressure. And this is where lots of people can be basically competing. And you can have what you call diversion. Now, a guy may go out there and see somebody else that he thinks is going to take his attention away from himself. So he turns around and runs stuff on him to try and remove him from the picture, kind of get him out of the way. Now, the way to deal with that, you make the enemy pursue you till the enemy gets weak, and then that's when you strike. And the most attractive trait in a relationship is assertion, not aggression. Aggression is dangerous, but assertion is, if somebody rejects me, oh well, it's not meant to happen. I don't care. And you know what? The next day they may think, what was I doing? And if you, on the other hand, are aggressive, you give them good reason to blow you down. And you give them good reason to not like you, because then you reinforce a negative stereotype that you're some sex-crazed dude. So instead, it's like, there can be some people who don't like people who are smart. And they're not smart themselves. There can be mean people who only want mean guys with tension in the relationship. And then there can be nice people who suddenly go away from school and want to just go with everybody. And it's, not just everybody, but it's more like everybody in the team, everybody in the fraternity. Now I don't want to date men. It's going to be everybody in the sorority. It's just going to be like they're going to aimlessly think a category brings them security. And so this gets into another thing. Why do women like fragrances? Like men's fragrances sometimes. Because it brings a positive memory of a person. So that is one thing about this. Now, on the other hand, this is where the attraction breaks the rules. And it's this neurological mechanism that kind of generates infatuation and arousal. And it also generates this euphoric feeling. Like, you take good couples. All of a sudden, you get one person that brings out a great side in the other, and the other person brings out a great side in the other, and they complement each other well. You take crappy couples, and oh my God, they're the most toxic people you put together. And it is like running down a good party. They are just like drama, gossip people. They make you feel like you're on Jerry Springer. So, basically you want healthy kind of situations. Now, there are going to be some people that, can be obstacles, or you may have somebody in a suite that says, ew, he's a dork, or runs stuff around. That's narcissistic behavior. And they are trying to take attention away from themselves in that behavior. And it's like, okay, what does a dork mean? Dude, you're like Beavis and Butthead. They're the only ones that use that word anymore. That's where you got to turn it around. And you don't even let people run you around. You don't let yourself get bonded too much to other people, in an inappropriate manner. Like, if you think you like somebody more than they like you, understand, oh well, it's probably not going to happen. I don't care. I can never have too many friends. But when you start having this idea, I want a relationship, you may switch modes and then start looking like you're in pursuit. And some people in pursuit pull it off well, some people do not. Now this is where, like, if you see somebody in class, make common ground. Like, just talk about anything. If, they're receptive and stuff like that. But this is where, like, the humor is a big thing too. Like, a lot of women love guys that can make them laugh. Now, if you are the funniest guy in the world, somebody is not laughing at your jokes, it means they probably don't like you. And they are showing that right there. They are not responding positively to you. Now, everybody's going to have negative chemistry with some people, and that's good because there's always going to be somebody around that's going to have a million times better chemistry. So, you just got to get around the campus and do lots of stuff, get involved in lots of activities, and you run into all kinds of people. And, maybe you're at a party, people blow you off. Dude, you may have been smoking and burning away, and they may have been, like, totally not even knowing you're at the campus. They may have been, like, totally, like, you can have some alcoholics. They will not date potheads. And then you can have some potheads that do not like alcoholics. And then you can have somebody who uses every drug in the book and then purposely shuns everybody else that just smokes weed or even cigarettes to try and take attention away and cover it up. And so you can have this hypocritical kind of quality. Like a convict could use the convict code to kill a cop killer. And then he's the child molester at the bottom of the totem pole. And he turns around, diverts the blame to the other guy to take attention off himself. And in a lot of social situations, people are like this, and there's a lot of psychology in the way people behave. And you see a guy out there, you think, oh my God, he's not going to do so well with relationships at all. I don't know what he did, but dude, he's going with all the girls you like. Okay, what happened? Now, he played a situation like a game of chess, then turned it into a game of Go. And he kind of gained momentum on himself. And he kind of had this following. And once the other person is following the other person in some way, like mentally they're on their mind, it can kind of generate an attraction. And so that is where dating sites say, oh, be a challenge, play hard to get. Now the problem with a lot of stories and stuff on those sites and the way they say it, somebody has to like you in order for that. Like you'll have some dude who'll go out with, or actually he doesn't even go out. He'll ask somebody out. Actually, no, they didn't even talk to him long enough for him to ask him out. So he turns around and tries to impress them and get on their mind. He totally is like the creepiest guy on their mind. And they're like, oh my God, I'm going to totally pretend I like to study. I'm going to totally pretend I like to do stuff I hate to do just because I don't want to be around you. And so they kind of turn it back. And those sites are selling you a story. But you know what? Two people may not click all the time. This is where the chemistry comes into play. And, somebody's instincts should be good. And they kind of, you want to develop instincts, kind of read the situation. Do not just jump in if somebody is running after you and stuff. And this is where you want to chill with people. You do not want to just push for relationships and stuff because, there's some people who really are scared of commitment. And there's some people who get really attached very easily. But, this is where assertive male qualities are more masculine than somebody who gets bonded in this kind of notion that they have to have a relationship. And this is where, in these kinds of environments, people are subconsciously competing. And everything goes in a curve. And if you are in an environment where you are the tallest person in the world, you're the only athletic person in the crowd, there may be some people that you draw attention from. Now, on the other hand, if you are in a crowd of people who are all smart and you look like the stupid one, you might end up attracting people who like stupid people. Actually, no. If you look like the stupid one and you actually aren't, you wouldn't even attract them. On the other hand, if you look like become the smartest one in the group, all of a sudden, those guys are blown out of the water and you're the one in the top. And this is where it's like the art of war. One guy does this strategy and kind of plays a rigid notion or something, maybe gets a misconception, and somebody else comes around and fools it and totally diverts the guy around. And some guy's trying so hard to be something he isn't, or trying too hard to impress somebody, and the other guy doesn't have to do that. And eventually they gravitate towards them. So, the security is the main thing here. And does somebody fill somebody's life? And, the humor and common ground interaction is big. But now we're going to talk about spontaneous. Now, what is spontaneous? That is, being able to excite somebody and create interest. And they're constantly interested and they like hanging out with them. And that's where it can be humor. Now, on the other hand, one person's spontaneous, that word is good. They may say that the guy's a trip or positive stuff or have a positive view on that. Or they may think it's really creepy and call it random. And they may be like, okay, how do you know that I failed a test? Are you spying on me? Or they, you can tell if somebody likes you, if they hate to do something and they want to be around you doing that and get into it. Now you can tell somebody hates you if you totally invite them to do something they would love to do and they never want to be around it again. That's where, you can see both sides, and the attraction breaks the rules. And people tend to have this notion, I want to date people in a certain category, or I have these dating turn-ons and turn-offs. Then one day they may find somebody that has none of those traits, has all their turn-offs, and yet they're more bonded to them because they kind of blow it out of the water for them. And so that kind of attraction and gravitation kind of bonds them. So now, when we look at chemistry, Some people are meant to be together, and some people are absolutely not. Like, would you put perchlorate in water in a chemistry lab? That shit would just blow up in your face, and then you'd probably get kicked out of the school. On the other hand, if you go out there, you get a reaction where there's kind of a weak bond between, like, a halogen and a hydrogen, and it dissociates in water. On the other hand, you get and that's kind of a weak, superficial bond. Then on the other hand, you get more covalent bonds, or you get this replacement kind of reaction, where one thing goes to the molecule and pushes the other one off. Like, there's this dude and this girl, and they're friends with benefits. Then some other guy comes along, and bam, they're no longer getting benefits. They're enemies they basically shun each other. And they kind of outgrow the other person. This other person's got a deeper bond and fills their mind. So this is where, the chemistry part is the most important thing. And you know what? The socially awkward, desperate, and insecure, whatever, can be sexy to certain people. And they may actually like that better because they trust them rather than somebody who knows the right stuff to say that seems like too smooth and cool. And it all depends on the person. You just got to find somebody that likes you. So, that's basically college dating, and thanks for